Chapter 14. Bosses. Over the next week, the house is a rush of activities as we prepare for Mr. Bat and Mr. Anand's visit. They told me I could manage the hotel as if it were my own. I simply have to have it up and running within a few weeks, says Dad at breakfast. They're trusting me with a lot. Let's show them what we can do. Together we paint the walls in shades of orange. The colour is sunrise, says Dad. But I know why he really chose orange. It was Mum's favourite colour. After several coats, the grey stains of dead spiders, flies and dust are completely gone. Once the painting is done and the windows cleaned, everything looks a bit brighter. Each day Dad walks to town and brings the donkeys up laden with a piece of furniture, fabrics or food supplies. Managed to hire any staff to help? Grandma asks on the 6th day, as she's hanging a recycled sari on the wall to cover a large crack. Dad shakes his head. Even without any help, the hotel is looking much better than before, and I stand on a chair to hang curtains in the living room. Once we unroll the patterned rugs over the bare concrete floors, the hotel feels warmer. Dad even fills the bookcase with books from town about the local area. Not too bad, says Dad, stepping back to admire the work. Not too bad at all. He places his arm over my shoulders. All we need now is to make the guest room beds, says Grandma. Mr. Bart and Mr. Anand will be staying for a few weeks to help oversee the opening, right? Dad nods, and we use the new bedspreads with swirling paisley patterns and cushions with silk covers in their rooms. I make sure there are candles and oil lamps in every room, although Dad assures me there will be electricity soon. For the finishing touch, Dad displays Casper, the taxidermy python, above the front door, as if he's guarding the hotel. Once he's finished hanging Caspar, we both collapse down on the sofa, and I rest my head on his shoulder. I think they'll be impressed, says Dad. The next day, Mr. Bart and Mr. Anand arrive later than expected, puffing and sweaty from the walk up the hill. Polly barks and growls at them. Mr. Bart has a thick neck and a voice as slippery as butter. I nickname him Toad after the cane toads in Australia. Mr. Anand is tall and skinny, and he has a whispering edge to his voice. With his eyes darting around the trees outside, he reminds me of a wasp. I call him Stinger. Stinger stops outside the gate, running his hands up and down a tree trunk. You've had a visitor, he says, beckoning to me. You see these scratches? I nod. They're leopard markings. I shiver. I wonder if a leopard followed us up home from Provine's last week. Let's start the tour, says Dad, clapping his hands together. Now that the water's been connected, everything's ready for guests except the electricity. Grandma and I follow behind them. As we walk upstairs, Toad jumps suddenly. I follow his line of sight. Georgina the spider is on the wall next to him. Toad pulls a rolled up newspaper in his pocket and raises his arm. No! I shout, jumping in front of him. Don't! Why on earth not? I guess what want pests in their room, biting them in the middle of the night, he says, sidestepping around me, the newspaper still raised. But that's Georgie, I say. House spiders don't bite humans and they can live for 8 years. Don't kill her. I say desperately. I frown at Stinger. I thought you liked wildlife. I told her about the sanctuary where you worked, explains Dad, smiling. Mammals were my speciality, he replies through his teeth. Tigers and elephants, not spiders. Let's move on, says Dad quickly. He ushers the bosses towards the hallway. On we walk through the newly painted and furnished hotel. They don't seem to notice all our hard work or say how nice it's looking. They don't seem interested at all. With each room we enter, Dad's posture slumps a little more. Would you like to see your bedrooms? I ask. I think you'll like them. We're not staying here, Todd replies shortly. We're staying in the cabin. I remember the building Praveen pointed out when we were in the woods last week. Let's leave them to it and go to the festival, Grandma whispers to me, and I nod, grateful to be leaving the bosses and their snide attitude behind. On our way out, I make sure the door to my bedroom is locked. Joey is sleeping and I don't want Toad and Stinger to disturb her. There's something about them that makes me uneasy.